So Ruth, how long have you been an alcoholic for?
About 5 years, 3 days and 5 hours. No, this is actually probably, this period of 6 weeks is probably the least alcohol that I've drunk. I have to say, having now slept on it, I think overall lots of real positives. It was a really good race. Ironman did so much to make it a really good experience, like especially with split transitions. Like it was a bit of hassle, like having to get the shuttle down in the morning, and there was also quite a lot of admin with dropping stuff off the day before, etc. But I honestly think that Ironman did such a good job at making sure that was all as kind of seamless as it could be, and actually making it feel like I think as much of a normal race as you could have in these times. So yeah, like really nice to see everyone. It was obviously a stacked field, which actually again it made like a really nice atmosphere, but I think I've said this to a few people, it still feels like a really nice supportive community. You know, you get people like Meredith Kessler, who's just such a hero, coming up and wishing you luck and having a little chat and talking to Heather about some of her training, and you know, all the kind of amazing places that you might want to go and visit. And it's just really nice to be able to have that kind of community spirit, and everyone, you know, you feel like everyone is actually supportive and everyone wants everyone to have their best race, but you know, they obviously want to beat people on their best race, but they want it to be that way around rather than, oh, I hope people, like, something happens or whatever. Really enjoyed the race, loved the atmosphere, the course was epic. Other than the hassle, I like the point to point and the kind of actually feeling like you're properly going somewhere, although it does make it logistically much harder, especially for supporters, etc. But the real positives I'm taking away from yesterday are firstly the swim. Like I kind of had in my head, it would be really good if I can swim with Heather Jackson. I was kind of hoping there would be a few more people whose feet I could sit on, but the group kind of splintered. There were the really speedy people right up at the front, and then I think there was like a couple that were with them and then dropped off in between. And then I basically led that second group. The second group, you know, the second like bigger group. I was thinking in my head, should I not sit on the front? But actually, like I didn't feel like I was pushing too hard. I felt like it was quite comfortable. So I was like, actually, it's quite nice not to be getting kicked in the face or anything else like that. So yeah, so actually quite enjoyed the swim. Yeah, so coming out of the water with Heather, I was like, great, like perfect start to my day. We can kind of get out, bike together. She's obviously a super strong biker, so I was like, that'll, you know, we can help work together and try and chase some people down. Didn't have the best T1, so lost a little bit of time. So she was maybe like 5-10 seconds up the road and I could just see her. She went off like a rocket and I was just like, I don't think I can do that today. And I was quite worried about overbiking because again, one of my aims for this race was actually to see where my run's at. So I didn't want to risk overdoing it on the bike. And then it turns out my power meter was overreading. So it took me a while to figure that out. I was kind of like going along, my power meter told me I was doing like 230 watts, which would basically be my 7.3 power. It didn't feel like that. And I was a bit like, oh, maybe I've just got really good legs and it's coming down from altitude and I'm having this like magical day. No, too good to be true. So it took me, yeah, probably about an hour because a few people caught me to realise that, yeah, that was not the case. And so I needed to try and ignore the power meter and just completely go off feel, which I was doing. And again, there was a little group of, well, initially Angela came past me and then Garitza was with her. I basically was like, right, I don't really like being behind people because I find it much harder to ride my own race, especially when on that kind of course, when it's rolling, it's really hard to kind of sustain a power when you're sitting behind people because you end up like catching them a bit on the ups, and yeah, it basically, so I decided to go past and then just be able to sit on the front. I was kind of hoping I could ride away from them. I think we managed to ride away from Angela, but Garitza was, you know, just perfectly like 12 meters behind me the whole day. Kept looking, and I know what a good runner she is, so I was kind of like, oh, I'm basically giving her a free ride to then go and run, but at the same time, I was like, I'm kind of holding what feels comfortable for me, so just keep going. Usually I would have a really good gauge of feel versus power. I was just so worried that the kind of come down from altitude would mean that my perception of it would be really off, because so many people would be like, oh, you'll just like feel really good. And I was like, well, maybe I just feel really good and I am doing this amazing power. I think it's just knowing body a bit more. And I think the other thing is I probably need to reconsider using heart rate a bit more in racing as well, and actually a bit more specifically for training. It's something I haven't used that much because I don't really like wearing the chest strap, and I really don't like wearing it racing because I get awful chafage. But I think that's something that then it's a kind of, well, if your power's off, or if actually you're just trying to sense check your perceived exertion. I think it's something that the more racing I do as a pro will get easier, because I think you, as you said, you probably do just have to go feel a bit more. Also, now that I've done altitude one, I now know a bit more what it feels like, so I think I'd have more confidence going forward to be like, okay, no, this is how I feel. Or, really epic bike course, have to say, like it's that perfect. I'd say it's quite similar to Roth in terms of being quite nice and rolling. Road surface is not as good, but actually from all the chat that happened before, they're really not that bad. I think anyone who lives in England will understand that anywhere else you go has much better roads. Anyone who thought those road surfaces are bad, never come to England, because you won't get anywhere. It's like raining basically the whole day, which was nice from a temperature perspective, kept it nice and cool. So yeah, it came off the bike. I knew it hadn't been a very good bike, sort of comparatively to where I would expect. I felt really disheartened coming off the bike. Now, I really thought I was probably down in like 15th or something at that point, so wasn't really sure if it was worth continuing. Because I think when you get to that pro level, you do have to weigh up a little bit, you know, I want to get a good payday, the trip's been expensive, so it'd be nice to recoup some of that cost. But then actually I was like, well, like I started to then feel quite good running. And I was like, well, maybe I just run this first half marathon, because it was like an out and back 2 laps, and see kind of where I'm at, if I'm gaining on people, if I'm still holding the pace and feeling good with all the effort and everything that's gone into this trip for this race. I was like, it'd be nice to get a good result out of it. The first lap, I knew that I was in 8th at that point, and I was still holding good pace. I was like, this is good, so let's just keep going. And I was then kind of settling in, starting to enjoy it. Real motivation from seeing other people out on the course doing well. So again, like seeing people like Kat, like having an amazing run, seeing Kim up there, like on her way to her Kona spot, and just seeing other people out there having a good day. You know, I think again, like seeing someone like Daniela out there doing a thing, like is just inspiring. So it kind of makes you want to keep pushing and kind of make everyone proud. Generally quite enjoyed it. Absolutely chuffed with my run. It's like a massive PB by 14 minutes, and clearly shows the run shape's going in the right direction. So yeah, just need to kind of figure out what happened on the bike.
Back in the car.
Back in the car. Back where it all started.